Hi, I'm Louise, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my life as a voiceover artist. My daily life working as a voiceover artist is quite varied, actually, because alongside doing the voiceover work, I'm also a singer. So each day can look quite different. So a day might consist of doing some singing, teaching in the morning, then maybe recording a voiceover in the afternoon, either at home or in the studio in London, and then maybe going on to do a concert in the evening somewhere in a theatre, something like that. Or it might just be being at home and doing voiceovers, or going into London and doing, a couple of different voiceovers. So it can change, but it's nice to be able to use my voice in different ways. And it keeps my voice in good shape, doing all of that. The most exciting project I've worked on is probably when I did some commercials for a line of Chinese cooking sauces. I really enjoyed that, probably because it was about food. And also because it was a contrast to many of the jobs I do, because I do an awful lot of very technical scripts for engineering companies and corporate videos and things like that. So, which are a very different thing. So it's really nice to just do something light and frivolous, like a food commercial, and that's quite fun. So yes, I'd like to do more of those because they're quite good fun. The aspect of my job that I love the most is probably the satisfaction that I get in reading a very complicated script and making what is quite often some very dry, technical, complicated information understandable, and making sure that the listener is engaged and understands what the script is trying to explain. That can be quite tricky because you need to make sure that it sounds authoritative and informative, but at the same time not too dry, and that you engage the listener, because you don't want them to zone out. You want them to listen and understand. So I really find it very satisfying to get that absolutely right and work with the client on that, and be able to do that as well in quite a tight time frame as well. If I can nail that quite quickly, I feel like I've done my job really, really well. So I really love doing exactly what the job requires and getting it done in a small time frame. I find that very satisfying. I love that. One tip I would give to a client who is working with me for the first time would probably be to really focus on what tone you want from the voiceover and narrow it down. So think in advance about that, and also try not to come up with too many words about how you would like that to sound, because they can sometimes contradict each other and make it more confusing. So if you can narrow it down to whether you want it a higher, brighter tone and less formal and quite conversational, that would be good. Or to say we would like this to be quite level, quite low toned and serious but friendly. That's probably about as far as you can go. But yes, avoid using too many adjectives to describe it, because it can make it slightly more difficult then. I have an idea in my head that if I'm doing a lighter, brighter, fun tone, I have my excited mum voice. So I do that because then I know that I have to take my voice up higher and make it sound more exciting and interested. So yes, that saves a lot of time if you've thought about it in advance and think about what kind of voice you want and have narrowed down the words that you might use to describe that. That's incredibly useful, and cuts down on a lot of time on the session as well, because then we don't spend half the session trying to decide what the tone should be. We can just get on and get the job done and really be able to get the product as you want it to be as the client in the smallest amount of time, which is usually quite a good thing. I think that's probably the only tip I could give, really. Most clients I work with are brilliant. And I've really enjoyed giving you a little insight into how I work, and I hope you found that interesting. And I hope I get to work with some of you in the future at some point. Bye.